say that there are no established systematic ways of teaching in translation. And while this might sound quite negative for the first while, we can possibly look at it from a positive perspective. This leaves the teacher or the trainer with a range of methods and teaching practices to choose from, to choose what suits his classes and his or her students. For me, there are a number of principles that I try to stick to in teaching translation. The first thing is that I try to diversify tasks in my classes and try to ask students to do different things in different classes. They can, for example, translate from scratch. They can edit machine translation. They can compare different versions of the same source text. And even the traditional teaching approach in translation, that is abbreviated in WTNS, what the next sentence is, in which students translate a sentence and then they discuss it and look for other possible translations, and then they move to the next sentence. Even this traditional approach, I do apply it in my classes as a way or a kind of change. It is important to apply this method because you make your students eager for the next class and feel that they cannot expect what the next class would be like. The second thing is to make your classes student-centered and to give more role to your students and to limit your role to that of the supervisor and the facilitator, to increase the self-confidence of students and to make them lifelong learners. Also, since translation is mainly a skill, I try to adopt project-based learning or problem-solving approaches. And in my courses, I try to assign different projects to my students, projects relevant, of course, to the nature of the course. And recently, I have been doing Wikipedia translation projects with my students, and they proved to be so interesting and so practical, and they helped students a lot. And they exposed them to the real underpinnings of translation as a profession. Finally, there is something very important that I do with my students. I try to listen to them and get feedback on different teaching practices and approaches, and to know what they like and they didn't like about them, how to improve them. And I got really very interesting feedback. And my advice for all teachers and trainers is never to underestimate your students. At the end, believe me that you are going to discover that you learn from your students more than they learn from you. Thank you.